Adam Savage, you summoned me, Adam Savage.
Give me the knowledge, Adam.
Hey everybody, Adam Savage at Global Effects with Chris Gilman. How are you, sir?
Good, good. How are you?
Now, your main business, your main...
Yeah, what have we got here already? This is Anglo-Saxon. This is a nice gladiatorial helmet. These are all replicas, I guess. All right, let's see.
thing is spacesuits. And you rent them, you make them, you build them, you design them.
Cool.
And these are one of my primary obsessions. But one of my other obsessions is armor. And holy hell, you
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it.
are also an armor collector, maker, commissioner, and you have a tremendous collection. Can we take a tour?
Ooh, did you see that? That was like a
Are
early...
also an armor collector, maker, commissioner.
It's kind of an early Republican. It's a bit big, though, compared to the original ones. Still pretty cool. Man, that's a lot of swords. I can see a Secutor gladiatorial helmet over there. Nice.
And you have a tremendous collection. Can we take a tour?
We can.
Let's
and
go.
Interestingly, this is what started the rental department.
Really?
Yeah, so
it all begins with armor.
It does, because that was my hobby, was arms and armor.
Ooh, that's a... Ooh, look at that one on the left here. That's a late 14th century helmet. This is based on... This is the Pembridge helmet. I have my own replica. I have to say, my replica looks better than this. Let me show you why. Not trying to flex or anything, but you know me, when it comes to armor, I'm a bitch and I'm pedantic. So that's what you subscribed to. So too bad, deal with it. Check this out. Today I'm gonna show quite a few helmets, I think. I think a good replica like this one, which looks almost identical to the original, based on the museum, of course. His is not bad, but I'm saying a replica like this, look how thin the ocularia are. Because of course you have to think that if you make these two too large, sure, you get better vision, but you also get an arrow to the eye. Never mind an arrow to the knee. It's an arrow to the eye. To me, this is a better replica. And now, I don't know if that's just the kind of what the costume is supposed to be used for. If it's not historical reenactment, it's not a big deal. You know, so that's why, like, I never complain when it's like people doing role-playing games or people doing some kind of cosplay, then it's fine. But when it's like supposed to be a movie and the movie is supposed to be historical, then that's when I start complaining more. So it all really has to do with what's the application.
Armor. So I thought I'd pull out,
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of our other rental department.
Yeah.
And as I said in the earlier video, you know, people come in and I say, are you doing a medieval picture or a mid-evil picture? Right. So what I've tried to pick is the medieval stuff. I've
The
tried
really
to pick
correct,
the authentic.
period, authentic.
Yeah. So we'll start here. We have a gladiatorial helmet.
Great, not medieval though. I'll stop with the pedantic. No, I won't.
It's beautiful.
And if I don't really know a lot about early Roman, early stuff,
Right.
and so I don't remember the name of this helmet. Your viewers, of course, will probably know.
Murmillo.
This was done by a very talented armorer named Ugo Serrano. Ugo's done some really fantastic stuff, and he's normally doing a little more fantasy, a little more authentic looking, but with a twist.
Yeah.
And that's okay, you know, as long as you make it clear in the intention. I don't have a problem with a fantasy interpretation of historical armor. Well, I do, but I pretend I don't, so that you don't think that I'm too close-minded. But then again, it's fine, as long as you make it clear, yeah.
And so he did this gladiatory helmet, and it's all in aluminum. It's really quite nice.
I think I
Has
just
all these
caught
latches.
Wow. I love his little catches too.
All opens and...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's probably super light. Obviously, aluminium is not period accurate. This would have been bronze in period, but aluminium does have its purposes when it comes to even historical reenactment. If you are someone who struggles, maybe you've got back problems, make your whole brigandine in aluminium. Who cares? People can't even see it because it's covered in fabric, you know what I mean? Shouldn't it be polished? Yes, it should. It should totally be polished, yeah. I mean, we are told the bronze was lustrous in classical period. They were both in Greece and Rome. They were fixated with polishing stuff. But yeah,
but all single pieces of aluminum. So, gladiatorial helmet. This is a fiberglass helmet. It's been metallized.
Oh, wow.
But this is a Roman cavalry helm, and there are a number of examples they found with these very realistic faces.
Crazy.
And they fit incredibly close. And when your eyes are in here, they're really creepy.
Yeah.
They're really creepy.
for sure. Very dehumanizing, in fact. We don't know if they use them in combat, though. It's possible that they didn't. We don't know that. Some of these, actually, the original mask is silver. Silver. So this is for people with money, like imagine like a primus pilum or like a centurion, at least I would say a centurion. It is the uncanny valley. You know what I love? Personally, not a very good replica. But then again, it's fiberglass, so whatever. I've seen phenomenal replicas of these that I was so close to make the wrong financial decision, because I'm talking like they cost thousands of dollars. So of course, budget will also, I'm never going to shame someone who's like, hey, this is what I can afford. Let me have some fun, man. Of course. Absolutely. But I've seen the best possible replicas of these. If I can find a picture, I'll show you. They look phenomenal. So don't imagine that this is a good representation of a real Roman one, because the real Roman ones, it would literally make you look like a shining silver and bronze statue who's alive, but made of metal. Like, they look incredible. They look incredible. Let's see if I can find a good example.
Here are some examples from the Museum of Germania Inferior of some cavalry masks that were found. And there are quite a lot of other museums that sport these outstanding masks. But what were they for? And did the Romans actually use them in battle? Such as this one representing a Roman cavalryman. Burials are absolutely vital to understand the dress and equipment of Roman cavalry. Now, even though these masks are still somewhat of a mystery, the approach the historians and archaeologists had towards these masks and what they thought they would represent changed over time. So initially, they thought that these cavalry masks were, generally speaking, ceremonial. Yeah. All of this to say that I don't believe that the Romans would go all the way to producing these rather complicated masks and elaborate masks just for parade. Arrian of Nicomedia, in Latin Lucius Flavius Arrianus, was a Greek historian, public servant, military commander, and philosopher of the Roman period. Now, he speaks a lot about the Romans, the Roman military, and he does mention masks. So let's read and see what he says. In his description of the elaborate exercise practiced by the Roman auxiliary cavalry, that he specifically calls hippica gymnasia, Arrian tells us the riders themselves, according to rank or because they distinguish themselves in horsemanship, set off with golden helmets of iron or bronze in order to attract the attention of the onlookers by this means. Unlike battle helmets, these defend not only the head and cheeks, but, conforming to the faces of the riders, have openings for the eyes which do not hinder the vision and yet offer protection. So basically, according to Arrian, who was, by the way, also a close friend of Hadrian, so, the guy who made the wall, face masks, helmets were used in cavalry, sporting mock battles that were used to train the army in a very similar way to the very early types of jousting in the medieval period. So we can see where medieval people got that idea from. A mock battle to make sure your soldiers are ready for it. So basically, we could say that these were done to maintain unit morale and fighting effectiveness. They could practice not only handling weapons, but also practicing maneuvering.
And they would have been bright silver and gold, probably silvered, actual silver and actual gold. Mm-hmm. And when they put gold on in the early times, they used a process called mercury gilding.
Yeah, it's not fun for your health.
But it laid the gold on really thick, and so you get this super rich gold color that's really hard to get with electroplating, almost impossible to get with electroplating.
Wow.
So that's a Roman cavalry helm. Now, you probably recognize this.
Yeah.
This is the Sutton Hoo helmet. This was a decorative helmet. Now, another thing to bring up about decorated armors.
Yeah.
The modern thought is, oh, they're parade armors. Oh, they're only for ceremony. That's really mostly not true. Most of the decorated armors you find were made...
I really like him, though, because you know how much it pisses me off when archaeologists and historians tell you, oh, this is a ceremonial, it's archaeologist speech for I don't know. I don't know what on earth that is used for. That's what ceremonial means. So I do appreciate that the guy says it's not ceremonial. Yeah, probably. I mean, of course, there is a lot of, whenever there is decoration, there is status and flexing on how wealthy and successful you are as a warrior. Yeah. Sutton who? Sutton you. Yeah.
100% real functional armors. Hardened steel,
ready for battle.
Intended to use.
Hardened steel for Sutton who? I disagree, but maybe I misunderstood him. So even though I am the pedantetron, I do want to be fair. Perhaps he was talking in general now rather than this. Probably, yeah. I'll give him that one. Come on.
Yeah.
in tournament or in battle. So while this might have been, it probably was a real fighting helmet. And people go, well, I can't believe you take something so beautiful and cake it out in battle.
Oh, no, they did,
The
yeah.
paint job on a Formula One car is unbelievably
Absolutely.
expensive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's absolutely right. In fact, as I was talking about, this is not always the case, but like in the Middle Ages, they would wear the most expensive stuff that they could. You would look like the dukes, princes, and kings. When they were like in full plate armor in the late Middle Ages, they would look stunning. And they did it on purpose because it forms as a not only it's used to, cause awe and admiration on your side. So imagine you're like, I don't know, you've been knighted, or maybe you're like, I don't know, you got money. Maybe you're not high nobility, but you've got money. Well, people will notice you. The high nobility will notice you. And so they'll be like, who's that guy? Man, look at that armor. It's splendid with all the gilded stuff, the gold and the coat of arms and all that. So you're already noticeable on your side. And so then if you act heroically, then people will take notice. The people will know. That's one thing. But on the other side, it functions as life insurance, because the richer you are, the more the enemy has a reason to not kill you and kidnap you so that they can ask for a ransom. And so if you look rich on a medieval battlefield, people will be discouraged from offing you. It can still happen, of course. It's not absolute. But they'll be like, oh, that guy must be like some kind of noble, so we can get money, if he's alive. And that makes you a harder target to remove, because imagine like a bunch of freaking billmen that are trying to deal with you, and you're already a problem because you've been training since you were 7, you're charging with a lance, you're on top of a horseback, you got the best armor ever, you're completely covered, you know what you're doing. So you're already a difficult target to fight with. Plus, I can't kill you, but you could totally kill me. So yeah, no, it works as life insurance. That's why it happened. Totally.
Fair.
Because you want to look good.
Yeah.
Right? So, now, the other interesting thing about these helmets is they were piles of fragments. Piles of fragments, little pieces of rusted that some guy sat down and tried to piece together what it looked like. Well, we're starting to find out that a lot of these things that were pieced together in the early 20th century, they weren't made by armorers. They weren't pieced together by armorers. And there's a lot of mistakes in them.
Oh, wow.
So some of the things that we think are iconic
Right.
Yeah.
are
Might not be true at all.
probably right. Now,
So this-
You know one example of what he just said? I'll show you. I'll show you an example of what he just said, because he's absolutely right. I mean, it's not easy when you do have iconographic evidence, and then you find a helmet, and you can see how it's worn in iconography or whatever piece of armor or shield, then it's easier to reconstruct it. But when you don't, like for instance, a good example of this is the Montefortino helmet, because in the original version, they actually mounted, so they found the very first Montefortino that they found, they actually mounted the cheek plates wrong, this way, look, because they thought this was like a cap. So these were mounted incorrectly, because this is instead the back. So then they figured that one out because they found more, some of which were complete, and then, of course, the iconography, and then they swapped it around, and now we understand that this is the back plate. So this does happen, what he just said, absolutely. And another example of that happened, in fact, it's still a thing. I don't know why it's still a thing, but it's in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I can actually show you. Let me see. Well, I don't want to make you wait for too long, but there is one set of armor in the Metropolitan Museum of it's basically a mess. Like they put things together that don't belong, and I don't know why they don't change it. It's whatever. Anyways.
I
It's
know
like
about
early
this one.
dinosaurs being built with the wrong head on a different body.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Same
Yeah.
thing. So this is an early style of decorated helmet with these hollow, thin sheet metal plates that are done on a press block. They're done on a bronze.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, they look chased, but they were done as
They're
stamps in a
pressed,
press
right.
block. Okay.
Now, this is a replica that one of the museum replica companies, I think, made. It is quite nice.
It's really nice.
Now, little known are the Vendel helmets, pre-Viking.
Okay.
And this,
That's gold. Yeah, the original is gold. It's a gorgeous one. When I say gold, by the way, it means gilded. Gilded meaning the under metal that forms the skull is iron, but then they put the gold on top. Because if you made this of actual gold, it would weigh a ton and it would be horrible for armor. Like it could be penetrated. So it's like it wouldn't make sense to actually wear gold armor unless you're so freaking rich and you just wear it at court. Otherwise, it's just better to use steels and iron and then gild it. But it is gorgeous. It's actually a pretty nice looking replica. I'll give him that.
This is a Vendel.
Ah, that's
Now, this is one I made.
beautiful.
Oh, good.
And this is based on the Vendel 14, I think
This is based. This is based, sir.
it is. And it had all of these pressed foils. Now, the real pressed foils would have been done on a bronze matrix, and they have found these plates that they would press the sheet in. People think they're solid, but if they were solid, this thing would weigh so much you wouldn't wear it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Now, what's interesting is these are very, very similar to the Roman ridge helms, the helmet that is in this time period. And these are from about 600
Okay.
pre-Viking. The Roman ridge helms have a ridge down the center and they're two hemispheres that have been joined.
Right.
Yeah.
So the theory is that since a lot of these guys were mercenaries for the Romans, when they came back, they copied what they knew.
Of course.
And they copied this. You try it on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, that's you want to try it on? That's what I say every time someone comes and visits me. Just the other day, we had the D&D group here, my wife's friends, and then they came upstairs and I saw someone coming in my man cave, and he's like, I heard there is a cool man cave here. And I was like, yeah, come on in. And so like they saw the frog mouth and the helmet, the armets, and I was like, yeah, do you want to try? Let's put everything on. Let's put everything on. Let's go.
Please.
Maybe the glasses, man. Just
Now I
remove
feel like I kind of look like
the glasses, man.
Pippin. In the
And this Adam guy is so cool. Like he's nice. I like him. He's really cool. Well, I see a brigandine in the back. Be nice if we get a closer shot.
battle in the Return of the King. Oh! I think that's the glasses that don't help sell it, do they?
No.
We have these decorated helmets pre-Viking.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of liner he put inside. That could be interesting to see.
Now come along a show, True Blood.
Yeah.
They have a flashback scene with Vikings, and they wanted a Viking crown. I have a research library of about 2,000 books on various historic, pre-Renaissance, pre-18th century, including a huge thing on Vikings. I went through everything, and I could not find one crown from the Viking era that didn't look like a Burger King crown, the paper one you get. Right? So I said, how if we do Vendel? So this is Eric's crown that we did for True
And it's
Blood.
copied off of this.
And you'll see that it's
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, look
It
at
also
that.
feels a little like the crown of Bethmora from Hellboy 2.
It actually fits him.
That's lovely.
Does it?
Wow. Oh, man.
So it's just fun to have a historic thing to be able to put out there. Okay, so now we get into Rus Viking. So the Vikings, people, during that age, they didn't go, oh, we're Vikings.
Right,
that was something we applied later.
I don't know about that. So here's my opinion on that. The Vikings did call themselves Vikings, but only for the people that went on the Vikings. Meaning, a Viking is like those that go to do the raids, or those are like pirate. Like they are Vikings. Sure, it is a term. Like it's an Old Norse word. The way that we use it today is incorrect because we use Vikings as if it was a replacement for the people. No, the people are the Norse. In fact, even better, the Danes, the whatever the heck, Swedish, like it's better to actually, the Swedes, it's better to go like that also because medieval sources oftentimes do call them Danes. It's kind of funny, sometimes they call them Danes even when they're not from Denmark. They just say it just to simplify it, but whatever. So no, yeah, it's, the people are the Norse, the Danes, that's great. You wouldn't call the whole population Vikings because if you do that, which people do, and it pisses me off when academics do it. I don't know why they do that. I guess because now it's become modern parlage. I get it. Not everyone has to be pedantic like you, Metatron. I get it. Obnoxious and condescending and blah. All right. But what's funny with that is that if you do use the term Viking that way, then you end up saying, look, a Viking children, a Viking child, look, a Viking woman, a Viking village, a Viking, well, it's like, it doesn't make sense at that point, because the Vikings are the pirates. The Vikings are the ones that went on raids. So it's, yeah, that's just a little pet peeve of mine that kind of annoys me. But regardless, I would say that I do want to underline, though, that even though it's not correct to use Viking the way we do, still, Viking is a period term, and they absolutely used it. Thank you, thank you. Did I get a copyright, or are you joking? Stream ended? Okay. All right. I'm back. Let's make sure we switch. Let's switch right now for the stream. Let me know when I'm back. Due to the fact that this kind of content tends to be copy claimed very easily, I'm going to have to divide it into batches, unfortunately, probably of 6 minutes each. But since I talked for 20 minutes out of 6 minutes, I think that would still produce very interesting videos. Thank you for your patience, and for today we're going to stop it here, but I'm looking forward to make the next one. Thank you very much.